I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And I'm Pickles.
Pickles!
Oh, Pickles is sticking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Pickles. Oh, Pickles.
I am a pickle girly, so
there you go.
it works out.
I am also a pickle girly.
We love briny things.
Yeah, I'm a bread and butter girly, and you're a dill.
Classic
dill.
dill.
But I'll hit up the dill. I'll hit up the dill.
I like a good thickle, if you will.
Thickle.
Yeah.
Thickle.
But yeah, well, enough of the pickle talk. Well, welcome back, everybody. We have a nice and fun, spooky episode for you, which I'm sure is the reason why you are all here.
One would hope.
Yes. But before we get into that, we have a few announcements. So first off, we want to thank some new Parajunkies, and we want to thank Maria, April, Maggie, and we also want to thank Mel, who just upgraded to the next platform.
Ultra Parajunkie.
Ultra Parajunkie. So
yeah.
So thank y'all so much for joining us. Yes, if you would like to support us, that's the best way to do so is through Patreon. It is how we fund all these fun projects that we're looking to do in 2025. Also, you get to have live streams and meet really cool people, and you get to see behind the scenes all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we just unboxed a really cool protection item that is used to ward off evil creatures, particularly fae.
Will be very effective against the fae.
Exactly.
Yes. We did that on the Fix.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely a cool time to be over on the Parajunkie side of things. And
Also, do you like murder?
do you like murder?
Do you like murder?
Are you sick in the head?
Killers?
I need context.
Do you like when Madison says the F word?
I know. Oh,
If you haven't heard our new podcast from One to Wicked, then you definitely haven't heard her say the F word, but it's on there. It's
all
one
there.
of those episodes. I think we have like 13 or 14.
yeah, it's really fun. It's JT and I's outlet for reading about all the true crime that we enjoy consuming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, basically, JT and I, whenever we travel, I always read to him about whatever murderous activities or serial killers or whatever sort of nonsense happened in whatever town we're driving through. And so we decided to take that and put it on a camera.
There you
It's
go.
a lot of fun. We have a good old time, and we rank these criminals on a scale of from 1 to wicked
Yep.
based off of 5 different categories. And it's interactive, so you get to vote along as well. And if you're a Parajunkie and we live stream the episode, you get to vote live, which is very fun. But
Yes.
yeah. So
And then with what we're doing today for this episode, Chris, he's announced his museum already, and this actually has to do directly with the museum. It is a sneak peek special look into the museum.
sneakity peekity.
Sneakity peekity. And we'll probably be doing these all along as we lead up to the opening. We're going to be sharing with you some of these items that we have been collecting. And collecting is sometimes a misnomer because it's not so much that we're collecting. It's sometimes these things are dumped on us.
Sure. Yeah.
And the people run away. And
Yeah.
And that certainly is the case with some of these items that we're going to be looking at today. So, yes, we have been corresponding with all kinds of different collectors from all around the world, people who have deep interest in the paranormal and deep interest in just the strange and unusual. But we are keying in as much as we can on paranormal customs, paranormal items that carry with them some form of attachment that is either a spirit, ghost, or other. And one of the first things that I'm going to bring out here is an item that comes from the ritualistic work of an indigenous people in the Ivory Coast. And in the Ivory Coast, these people are called the Dan people. The Dan people, they populate that whole area of the Ivory Coast and Liberia. And they do a lot of mask rituals. And if you see the masks of this region, they for the most part, are very typical of African mask work. Many people have seen them and would identify them immediately and say, oh, that's an African mask because of the oval shapes and the way
Right.
the eyes go. This mask is not that.
No, it is not.
This mask is different in a lot of categories. The ritual that this mask is used in is kind of a big dance that's a big part of the cultural scene there. And these masks are supposed to be imbued with the spirits of evil and dark forest dwelling spirits. And these forest dwelling spirits, in order to understand what they want from humans and how to communicate with them, they would get these volunteers, these dancers, to put on the mask, because the mask, imbued with the spirit, allows them to become see-through and interact as one of these spirits. So it is called a transformation mask, a transformational mask that allows a person to basically become a spirit without dying.
That's
And,
amazing.
and then through the dance that they perform, the interaction between the living and the dead and the living and the supernatural becomes more of an understanding of how to behave
Right.
with these creatures. But this mask does not look like your classic ritualistic mask. I'm going to just grab it.
Yeah. It's definitely not like a wood carving. There's not a lot of painting to it. If anything, it looks like something that would curse someone due to the hair. But it's
So for those of
Yeah.
you
There she is.
who can't see this, the mask is wooden. It's carved wood. And when you first look at it, you kind of get the rough-hewn sense of it. When I first saw it, I thought it was maybe paper mache.
right.
Because it does look mottled and very odd. But when you touch it, you realize, oh no, this is a wooden mask. There are holes all along the top to suggest how it would be attached to a person's head. They probably create a net of twine or rope that would tighten it to the head. So this mask is a very perplexing thing, because when you first look at it, you there is an uneasiness because it does not seem like an artisan.
No, not at all.
It almost seems like a desperate act.
Right.
It seems as though what you're really looking at is something that had to be made. You know, we're under a tight schedule and we
Yeah.
got to get this made. It has a real hair mustache,
Which
which I think is animal fur.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be human hair, actually.
And that's what I was wondering when I saw it, because I was like, is this supposed to be connected to somebody? Or is this...
Well, and that's unfortunately because of the way that these are collected. The information does come slow. Like
Sure.
I don't have enough information on it. For instance, there is a large patch of, I'm going to say, flesh on the top of this mask. When you look at it, you get kind of a sensation that it could be human skin.
Yeah.
There is a chance, because it has a slight leather-like quality to it. But when you really look at it, you can kind of see textures in it, and the textures that you're looking at
You're not wrong.
definitely look like the way that skin reacts, the way it wrinkles, the way it
When it dries up.
yeah, when it dries up. Even if you held your own skin up to it, it kind of has similar patterns of cracks, you know, the way that skin cracks. So yeah, I'm not going to think too much on that. I when I acquired the mask, it was not explained to me that was what that was, because the pictures do not make it seem like the top is leather. But sitting here looking at it, you're like, yeah, that seems that seems to be some kind of a hide of some type.
I like his little tongue.
Yeah, I like
And
his
his
tongue,
tongue
too.
is sticking out, which is often a depiction of. In almost every culture, these masks they'll stick their tongue out, and
Yeah.
it is purportedly because that is a fierce face. You know,
Yeah,
that-
warrior face.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That suggestion that they're doing something fierce, but it's also death. You stick your tongue out when you die, supposedly, and so they say that to look through the mask, to wear the mask, when you're looking through it, you're given phantom vision. You're given the vision of the spirits, the wood
That's
spirits.
fun.
And they believe.
I know. Part of me is like, do you really want to put your face too close in there? But
And they believe that the mask is imbued with a spirit that will sort of, I don't know if possess is probably the correct term, a spirit that will possess you and give you the abilities to interact and react as a spirit would. So yes, this is a mask from the Ivory Coast. It is a ritualistic mask, and again, when speaking with the collector, he shared pictures of it with me. I looked at him. I did not find it to be particularly eerie in his description or his pictures, but having it right in front of you, it does have a different sensation.
How's it attached to its stand?
So
Maddie,
it's
I thought
using
that
the
was gonna-
holes.
It's hooked.
See, there are
it's
holes.
hooked. Okay, so that's why you could turn
Yeah.
it to where it's face down.
Right.
I was like, Maddie, don't drop it.
no, I know.
No, yeah. The holes that you would tie it to your head actually have pins in the stand. The stand is obviously made for it because
Right.
they are fitted exactly to that. And I want to say that it looks like at some point it was maybe hanging, but it's a very interesting piece.
It definitely is.
And it just shows how cultures come up with their ritualistic patterns
Yeah.
and their paranormal beliefs. And this was a way for a culture to interact and react to entities that they felt were around them and possibly, corrupting them or in some way influencing them. They wanted to be able to communicate with them. And again, most masks that you see here would be very smooth and very smoothed out, but this one, it just seems like they rough hewn it. You can see the gouge marks of the chisels. You can see that maybe someone was very desperate to speak to the spirit, and perhaps it was a specific spirit,
Right.
that they were seeking counsel from or connection to.
Did they tell you what kind of tree the wood was made out of?
No, unfortunately, a lot of it, because, and this happens a lot in collections, we were lucky enough to get a couple of items that came directly from the source. So we have an item that a holy man actually oversaw and delivered it, and they were able to interview him directly. This, I think, made circles.
Sure.
And so we're playing a game of telephone with it in
Right.
a lot of ways. So this is, and to be perfectly honest, I don't have a lot of sense of like energy coming off of it.
Right.
You just get the sense that it has a significance to the people who made it, and that it definitely holds sway in that paranormal way. So that is the Dan People mask from the Ivory Coast.
Nice.
Wow.
Noise.
Back, I'm going to bring Jeb over.
Oh,
Jeb. We love
Jeb.
Jeb. Y'all will love Jeb.
Yeah, you'll love Jeb. Oh my God, that thing is.
He's so upsetting.
He is very upsetting. Oh, Jeb, you're here. This is the closest I've been to you in a while.
Yeah, he's upsetting, and touching him is so weird. Like
It's
his body
terrible.
is wiggly in such a way that I can't explain, because it feels like he shouldn't be this
Malleable.
malleable, or he should be more malleable.
Yeah.
It's like he's the perfect stiffness and density of basically a child.
Yeah, Jeb here has just been a problem since.
He's been a problem. So our friend Patrick Wells with the Paranormal Society of Savannah had these 4 dolls that he was displaying in his coffee shop when he had a haunted grounds coffee shop, and he had like a kind of like a mini paranormal museum there. And he had been collecting these items from people, and Jeb here was one of the items that he had. And when he closed his coffee shop, he didn't know where to go, and he was like, "Hey, these are incredibly haunted items that have really gotten a lot of people's attention." He brought this in. I put it down, and when I put it down, this arm just went up. And I saw it, and I was like, maybe it's a function of the doll, because you see if you squeeze it kind of makes all these motions.
He's a dancer.
But it was very upsetting to me because it definitely seemed like he did it all on his own, and I didn't like it.
Those hips don't lie.
And then while I was talking to Patrick, I saw him do this. Didn't like that either, because it happened out of the corner of my eye, and it took me a long time to really fully assess that I think he turned. I think he moved a little. And from that point on, I say for the next 2 days, he did a lot of moving.
He's moved a lot.
He's moved a lot.
He's moved a lot.
I've been sending photos, and just as I pass him, and they're like, we did not put him there.
No.
It was very upsetting. We got to a point where we were putting candy under his feet, so that we would see if his feet were moving. And one day he was like a full 3 or 4 inches behind the candy. I was like,
and
what you doing?
I'm thinking
Jeb?
like, how can this be? Like, if he's could it be that maybe vibrations during the night from the traffic outside?
But he would have fallen over.
But he would have fallen over. He wouldn't have shimmered away. Shimmied away. I'm just thinking vibrations or anything like that.
Right.
And so we started putting a camera on him, and then he got very still.
He's like, ugh.
He was like, camera.
It's like, this was a fun thing, and now I have to show off.
You know what's funny is he reminds me of like a blossoming serial killer kid that's about to grab an animal to decapitate it.
Yeah.
Like he's in that stance.
Yes. And it doesn't help that his expression is right on the edge of mischievous. It's right on the edge of I'm going to mess you up. There's just something about the way he's standing, because he's also standing with his shoulders up a little.
Yeah.
He's kind of leaning forward.
He's going to be aggressive towards something.
He's going to be aggressive towards something. And it's and we've tried to change his posture. He does kind of bend and bow, but in order to keep him standing, you have to let him stand a little forward.
Y'all see the comments? The pair junkies are going off right
it's
now.
Chucky, yeah. Well, and it's so funny, y'all, because the day after Chris brought it in, I was here and I was looking for my props for my tour. And so I just went in there and I was walking by and I watched him do a very similar thing where he kind of just moved like that. And so I was like, oh no, you're not going anywhere, buddy. So I made a little sigil and slipped it underneath his feet just in the off chance that he decided to really make a break for it. But
yeah, we ultimately ended up removing the sigil because we were afraid that, again, we don't want things to be too effective. We don't want to impair these spirits, and we certainly don't want to suggest that they're not welcome here. But he was getting a little rowdy for our for our needs. It's
do you know what he reminds me of is Macaulay Culkin in The Bad Seed?
Yeah, in The Bad Seed.
But he's looking at the little girl in the ice, when she falls in the ice, and he's watching her.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's what he.
That.
That's what he's giving.
He looks like he's enjoying someone else's suffering.
He is.
It's the Schadenfreude doll.
Smile and again, y'all, if you are listening to this and you want to watch it, all you have to do is switch it on Spotify. It goes to video.
Yeah.
This is a classically creepy doll.
Yeah.
I could not imagine if I were walking in an antique store and I saw it on a shelf that I wouldn't stop to say, okay, that's a creepy doll.
Right. Well, and it's so interesting because when you moved these into the back room, I was also here to give a tour, and I was the only one in the building. And so I was walking around and I'm like, oh, where'd they put the dolls? And I found them. So I opened the door and I kid y'all not, I literally, it was like getting hit with a brick. I got a major brain zap, if you've ever felt that sensation. I literally was like, oh my God. So him with all his friends in that room is just brewing the energy. But also that same night, after I made my visit with the dolls, I came back in here and I was sitting in the dark because we hadn't hung up our light yet. And so I was just sitting here, just being myself over in my chair. And I hear what sounds like somebody pick up a really heavy object and then slam it on the ground.
Oh, God.
And I went out there because I was like, did something fall over? and nothing was out of place. So I don't know if that was one of them or who.
You told me that. You
Yeah.
told me that when it happened, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, make sure it wasn't a camera. Make sure it wasn't anything like super important because we have stuff.
Ooh, I wonder if it was the door to the hole.
Oh hell no!
I didn't even consider that. I
I
literally.
didn't even think about that either. Here, let me go do it and
Yeah.
let me know if it's the same sound. I'll be right
I
back.
was literally.
We're going to conduct an experiment here.
I sat there with my phone flashlight on.
Yes,
the
with
whole.
the door open.
Yeah.
Was the door open?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just sitting there after that with my phone flashlight on. I was like, I'm not sitting here by myself in the dark. There's too many different things that could have caused that. Yep. That's absolutely it.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's really comforting. Yeah, that noise was exactly it. Didn't even consider it. Did not consider that it could be the hatch. So whatever was down there.
We had 2 separate ghost hunts with 2 different groups of people in the space, and at both times, a call to go to the hole came through the spirit box and the
hole.
spirit chat. 2 different devices telling us to go towards the hole, go into the hole, go under the ground.
Chris, should the hole be part of the museum?
Right?
Well,
Haunted hole.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna wall that area off as like where the employees go.
Oh, okay.
But mostly it's because those fuse boxes are
Yeah.
actually kind of dangerous for people to be
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna seal that
Building's
up.
old.
Yeah.
She an old girl.
She-
But
old girl.
it can be like the secret haunting. That,
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that there's a spirit that desperately wants inside or wants to pull us out.
I don't want to be a part of either one of those things.
And because didn't you left a EVP recorder and got a bunch of like thumping sounds in the middle of the night?
I will tell. It's on Patreon. I've left an EVP recorder down there for 12 hours, and I pull it up, and it's like I left the speaker side up, like the part where it's recording. So it wasn't like it was in the dirt or anything. I left it up, and it was just like these like I mean these really deep bassy thuds. And I asked our neighbor at the time, he was our only neighbor because hurricane damage got the other neighbors out. So I asked the neighbor at the time, I asked him, I'm like, were y'all here? Like, I'm looking at the time code, like 2:47 a.m. And he was like, no, we got here at 6. And I'm like looking at everything, and 6 is when all the noises started to go away.
Oof. Yeah.
And then so they were moving out at the time, and that's where the noise would have been made. But while they were moving out after 6, you barely
You couldn't
heard
hear it,
anything.
yeah, because they're so far away too.
Yeah,
from-
they're
from-
super far
yeah.
away. Yeah, and so there were like thunderous footsteps right above in the hole. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
Nikki said, I do and don't want to know what's down there.
We spend a
Honestly-
lot of time that way.
Yeah.
I actually made contact recently with 2 psychics who run a shop down on Broughton Street, who conduct seances,
Oh, very cool.
and like they are hired to go to places and conduct seances. We're going to do a seance in here next week, I think.
Ooh,
Because I really want to know if they can beat in on Hole Dweller.
should we live stream it for the?
I'd have to check with them first.
check with them. Yeah. You know, I want to live stream everything. I'm
Yeah.
just like, let's live stream it.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. So we got little serial killer boy.
Yes. So
then we got one
this
more.
is Jeb. He is alarmingly active from my standpoint. However, the next doll we're going to bring out is supposedly much more active and has many stories that are very disturbing. The stories about this next doll have me deeply intrigued. But I keep him in a glass case, so I don't know if that's what's helping keep him from disturbing people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go grab him now.
Yeah.
Including the red Sunday balloon.
Yeah, yes.
That was weird.
That was so creepy. We'll talk about that in a second. But this next one's eyes do follow you still. So maybe we'll catch that on camera in some capacity. But he's very unnerving.
Dum, 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 dum.
And not just because of what he is.
So here we go.
He has to be in a box, right?
He does.
He doesn't have to be. I can take him out.
Well, we want him to be in a box.
Yes. I mean, for this purpose, we can pull him out so you can see him. He's got his own stand, so. Oh, Lord. His name is Charlie. Mm-hmm. I'm now worried that I might have his name wrong. It might be Henry. Is he Henry? Oh, no.
What's your name?
Wouldn't it be terrible if I've been calling him by the wrong name this whole time?
That's when the...
Oh, yeah. So this is the first time I've been this close to him outside of his box, really. Mm-hmm. I have an instant headache.
Yeah. I think Charlie was the one that gave me the brain zaps. What does it say? Exclusive license, Baby Berry Toy NYC. That's why he looks like someone's drunk uncle from New York.
Oh, he's very stiff. I don't like how his hand is dirty.
Yeah. Well,
See that?
yeah.
Like, this hand is strangely dirty.
Yeah, he's really gotten into stuff.
He's gotten into stuff. So, we start this story with the fact that this purportedly was the most haunted item that the Paranormal Society of Savannah had in their collection. So much so that when a newspaper reporter came to do a story on their coffee shop, they were introduced to Charlie, and the reporter, being a skeptic at heart, thought that it was a good idea to mock Charlie. And in the interview, the reporter starts making fun of Charlie. During this exchange, a large series of mugs come flying off the wall, crashing on the floor. Now, the beauty of that is we have the newspaper article that the reporter wrote, relating this event. And that will be on display in the museum. But it creates this interesting thing because it was like, oh, well, what do we know about this doll? What is it? And it's like, well, this doll has a habit of showing up in places it doesn't belong. For instance, people would go home from the coffee shop, open the door, and the doll would be in their house. And they're like, what? Which makes it an apport, an item that can move vast amounts of space, seemingly by magic. And that is a dangerous enough thing. But he invades people's dreams. They have nightmares about him, repeated nightmares. Large groups of people have nightmares about him. He is also the most upsetting story that I heard was a person came home and was having the moment of realizing that Charlie was in their house, saw Charlie in their house, and thought, "Oh, I'm now chosen to have Charlie, to have this experience.
Right.
This is the experience that everyone talks about," and they kind of assumed that it was some form of kind of
Right? The smell?
yeah.
The smell, what?
It smells like cotton candy or candy. It smells like a circus peanuts or.
It might be my gun oil because I was cleaning an antique gun.
No,
today.
I know. I heard that. I smelled that the whole time just now.
No,
I got
but
a waft of something super sweet. Like,
I smelled that when you opened the box.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, that's weird. Anyway, so this person comes into their home. They see Charlie and they're like, "Oh, okay, it's Charlie." They move towards Charlie, thinking that Charlie's like sitting nearby.
Did you?
Charlie is not. Charlie. No, I didn't. Charlie's in another room.
What is it?
It just
moved.
scooched back
He scooched
at
back.
us.
He scooched back.
Like
Yes.
the whole stand scooched back.
Yeah. He comes upon Charlie, sees him, and realizes that Charlie is not the small doll close to him, but Charlie is over 6 foot tall in the other room. This figure was standing in the other room, and as he moved towards it, he realized that it was towering over him. he immediately ran out of his house.
Yikes. So who the heck made him? Because who would make something like that?
Baby Berry Toys in NYC.
For people driving and listening and all that, I mean, this looks like a vagabond
His name's
clown.
Willie the Clown.
Really
What?
not.
His stitch says Willie the Clown.
Oh, Willie the Clown. Interesting. The way that these get
Emmett
their
Kelly's.
names. Yeah, it's an Emmett Kelly. So if you're familiar with Emmett Kelly created the hobo clown. And the hobo clown is a very specific type of sad sack looking clown in distressed clothing. And then there's a whole line of them because it became such a popular clown, especially because it came about in the Depression era or just after the Depression era. So seeing people in that, a clown attire is perfectly normal. But the way that these dolls got their names is through spirit box sessions and through asking
that makes
them
sense.
If they have a name or what their name might be. So yes, he has a birth name, which is Willie, and Willie the Clown might be an Emmett Kelly character.
It is.
Yeah,
No, it looks just like him.
yeah.
So, quick question: when did you bring him in? Like, what date? Do you remember? Just off the top?
The same day that Jeb came in. So if you look into our text and see us talking about Jeb,
Okay.
then it should
Yeah,
be
it was the same day.
Okay.
He came
I'm gonna
with
look
Jeb.
real fast because there's something interesting about this.
Yeah, Willie's his government name.
Yeah, Willie's his government name.
And so, yeah, he is.
And the spirit that attached to him may not have anything to do with the doll itself as much as it is this became a vessel. And that is the danger of haunted dolls. Haunted dolls are very sorry, Jeb just lifted his arm.
Everybody's just having
all
a
just
free for
moving.
all or having a free for all today.
We're just moving.
So in any case, dolls are very tempting to spirits because they have bodies, because they are very similar to the bodies that they had left, and they're empty. And most famously, the story of Annabelle, probably the most famous haunted doll on Earth, involved the owners granting permission to a spirit to inhabit the doll, to live in the doll, and that is kind of the compunction is when you give dolls to children, they're playing with these dolls and they are interacting with them as if they're alive. They're giving them so much interaction and giving them animated life that it is very tempting for a spirit to interact with humans in that way. So you do get a lot of haunted dolls. Haunted dolls are basically a trap for ghosts. If you put out a doll in a place that is very haunted, it is likely that a ghost will want to possess the doll. And oftentimes, once a spirit is inside a vessel, whatever the vessel may be, it is stuck there. It is waiting for the vessel to be destroyed, because in the destruction of the vessel, there's a second death and the spirit is given a new opportunity to leave the vessel. But that is also why it's very bad to destroy a haunted object, because that spirit could be very dangerous.
Right.
So you need to take special care with these things. Oftentimes, a burial is the best choice. A lot of people are like, oh, burn it. It's like, don't burn it. When the body is gone, the spirit is free. That is the truth that we've placed on our existence on Earth. So here we have oh, there's that smell again. It's weird.
It is. It's really weird. Also,
it smells like a memory.
It smells like a
it's
memory.
a faint memory.
Yeah, it's a faint memory of a time gone
Speaking
by.
of haunted dolls, just a full side note. JT, did we ever get my haunted doll off of the top of the room that these guys
Oh,
are
she's
in?
sitting in the room, I think.
My doll?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
She joined the gang.
Okay, great.
She's in there. Here,
Because I was quite concerned for a little while. If you're new here and don't know about my haunted doll, my haunted doll is one that I grew up with. I got it from my grandmother after she passed when I was 2 years old. And so it's always been with me. But I hated this doll as a child because it would move. It would move around my room. Its eyes would follow you. No, that's not her.
This is not her.
No, that's
All
not
right,
her.
then we don't know where she is.
She should be
This one just showed up. I don't know who it is, but it was in a box next to all the other dolls.
Oh, well, that's delightful. Yeah, I don't know why that keeps happening to us. Is these dolls just keep appearing in places, but this one in particular, she has a white like christening dress on. She has like
interesting.
stark blue eyes, and she has a broken leg. I don't know why her leg broke. That was when particularly she started getting really active.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is when her leg broke. And so when I moved out of my parents' house, I left that doll there because I did not want to bring it with me, obviously. And so eventually, many years later, I bring JT to my parents' house and he sees this doll. He's like, well, we have to have this with us. And I'm like, absolutely not. And so eventually we ended up taking the doll. And so it lived in my trunk for a while. And after that doll lived in my trunk it was in there for about 3 months. And within that time span, I got into 3 car accidents. Nothing major, but just significant,
enough,
significant enough where it was like, what is happening? Because I've never
doll
been
in your trunk.
Yeah, and I've never been in a car accident before in my life prior to that. So that was very bizarre. The haunted hole. Yeah. Yeah, it should be on top of the room on the roof. So she might eventually just show up in there.
She'll show up one day.
But
all the parties happening in there.
All the
I'm also
party.
noticing that his hands are out.
I noticed that too.
And it's very odd. That's an odd position to put a doll's hands in. I was like, well, maybe it's just twisted somewhere, but it seems
He's like,
it's
"Give me a hug."
sewed that way.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time you sent a photo of him was December 11th.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like early December and all of that. And I'm trying to find when you brought him in because his birthday is December 9th. And I didn't know if you brought him in on his birthday.
That's interesting. Let me
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Related.
The balloons.
Oh yes, tell the story of the balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we think is associated with Charlie.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
tell it.
JT. No.
Oh, you won't be okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of nuts. I think it happened during an episode.
Yes, the
It
red
happened during
balloons.
an episode.
Yeah.
There was multiple red balloons that I think I still see one in there. We kept them, but there were multiple red balloons while we were doing an episode that just crossed into our parking lot. I think it was like on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And because we have a school close to our building, and so I'm thinking that the school, they're having an event, and I look over, there's like no one there. And I'm like, where in the heck are all these red balloons coming from? There's like multiple, and they're all entering the parking lot. And I go and I get them and I bring them in, and y'all start freaking out. And then I put one over by him because like a clown needs a balloon, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then did it deflate or what happened to it?
No, it blew up. Remember?
Yeah.
It
It
popped.
blew up. Oh yeah. Oh, we have footage of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yes.
Sorry. So much haunted stuff happens
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so
that
there were 3 balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of them kind of deflated, but that one exploded.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
The one
I
that was
do
hanging
remember,
on
and
him.
I have the footage.
Right, you
right
have the
now.
footage.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. It's
That's crazy.
Charlie here is very disturbing.
Yeah, I have a weird headache. Like from the moment we took him out of the box, I've been having this weird headache. It's like closing my right eye kind of sensation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an interesting thing. It was December 11th is when he was
December
brought
11th
here.
is when he
Although
brought
it was
him. 2
December
days after his
9th
birthday.
that Patrick reached out and said, "Hey, can I bring these over?"
Oh, his birthday.
He's like, I need a new home for my birthday.
That's crazy.
Oh, Lord. I
Yeah,
hope he
right.
doesn't end up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't kill anyone, Charlie. We would really appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
He gives me the same vibe as Robert the Doll. you
Yes,
know?
he's got a little bit of Robert the Doll sensation to him because he definitely seems like you need to ask permission around him. Like you're
Right?
supposed to be a little more respectful around him. You get the sensation that there are consequences to being a little flip with him. Yeah, he exudes menace in a way, but not like evil. More like take him seriously.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
which is funny because he's a clown.
Yeah. Did you
I'll,
prop him back up?
Oh yeah, I pushed
Okay.
him up
I
because
wanted to make
I was
sure.
getting worried that it was his body weight that was making him move that way. So yeah,
I'll post the the balloon popping video on Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah. Super creepy. Yeah. All of these guys have various bizarre stories. And yeah, they've definitely made our lives more colorful since they got here.
Indeed, they have, and they were out in the open. But as we started working a little harder on getting the space ready, it was like, well, we can't have them just like hanging out while we're moving all this stuff. So we put them in a smaller room where they are where they're gathering energy,
and that's where the fireball of just dense energy fires at you the second you open the door.
Yeah.
Just so much fun. Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you have the spirit chat with you?
I don't. I really should have brought it. I got out of the habit of carrying it everywhere I go. I do have your classic apps.
That is true.
Let me see if I can.
That might also be a really fun thing to do for Patreon is we go into the room.
I'm
with
thinking
these
of
guys.
Let's do
doing
that.
a live.
Let's do that instead. Once we have the spirit chat.
Yeah.
We'll do a live maybe next week on Patreon. Let's do that.
I agree with that.
And we can also just do a live where we take one of the S boxes, the spirit box, leave it running with a camera in there, and leave.
That's a good idea.
And just let it run for a period of time.
Okay.
That's a good
Because we can also do that on. I see that done a lot on TikTok. Although that may not be an option soon. So we'll do it on YouTube.
On the YouTubes. But yeah, well, thank y'all so much for listening to today's episode and watching if you're watching on Spotify video podcasts or YouTube so that you can see these lovely babies' faces. But yeah, we hope you had a good time listening. We hope that Charlie here doesn't show up in your nightmares.
Yes.
And
I hope he does.
Oh, gosh.
If he does, please write a ghost mail.
Please write a ghost mail if that happens to you. But with that, though, thank you again. And my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And stay spooky, y'all.